Before we get started, I would appreciate if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. So what happens in a 51% attack? This is a basic illustration to try to explain to you what actually happens, just to help you visualize it in this illustrative format. So as you already know, let's look at the keys up above. The green ovals represent the decentralized nodes. The blue represent the ovals represent the decentralized miners, and then we have the big red oval, and let's just say they are the rogue miners with 51% of the hash power, because remember, mining is decentralized and anyone can be a Bitcoin miner, but let's just say there was one miner that has more computing resources than every other miner out there, or it's one mining pool that has more miners contributing to that pool than all the other miners out there, and this rogue miner has 51% of the hash power. So the hash power is 100%, and this 100% is supposed to consist of all the hash power within the network, whereas this rogue miner has more than 51% of that hash power that they are in control of. Then we have the blue squares, which is the unconfirmed block the miners are competing to solve. Then we have the yellow squares, which are the confirmed valid blocks that have already been solved. And then we have the red squares, which are the malicious blocks mined by the 51% attacker. So in this case, what usually happens when there's a 51% attack is the rogue miner has most of the mining power, so they confirm the blocks, the unconfirmed transactions, faster than every other decentralized miner in the network. So once they confirmed the transaction, they add it to the blockchain, but they don't broadcast it. And what I mean by broadcast it, they don't let the network know that they have confirmed these transactions. So on the top we have the original, the valid blockchain with all the confirmed transactions, and from this block here, let's just say this is where the 51% attack occurred. So this is where the 51% attack occurred, and from this block onwards, this is where the rogue miner has been mining their blocks in secret, because they control most of the hash rate. So they are confirming blocks and they're adding it from this block onwards. This is where the attack occurred. So they're adding their confirmed blocks to their chain in private, in secret, without broadcasting it to the network, the rest of the nodes, to verify. So they're adding it, and as you can see, their chain is growing faster than the main chain, which is considered as valid by all these nodes. So the rest of the miners, they're working to confirm blocks in order to add it to the main chain. These are the good miners, and they're working according to the protocol, the network, how it's supposed to be done, and they're working in order to add their unconfirmed blocks to the main chain. And as you can see, they're moving at a slower pace compared to the rogue miner, which is moving much faster, and the reason being is because they control most of the hash rate power. So then what happens is the rogue miner then broadcasts their chain to the network. So they broadcast their chain to all these decentralized nodes, to the network, who then verify it. And what do they see? They see that the rogue miner's chain has the longest proof of work done to it. It's the longest chain, so they consider it to be the most valid chain. And what do? They then update their ledgers to the longest chain, which is also the chain that has a 51% attack on it. So the ledgers are updated. So as we know, from this block onwards, it's been the rogue miner mining. These blocks are erased, and this chain and all the blocks in this chain, including the rogue blocks from the miner, has been added to the ledger as the most correct chain. Now, we already discussed what a miner can do in their rogue blocks. They can do several things, and one is they can prevent transactions from being added to the block, and two, they can modify the order of transactions within a block, And 3, they can do a double spend attack, where they can reverse a transaction and double spend it. And 4, they can monopolize the network and take control of the mining to earn the mining rewards, which is what they've done here. They've earned all the mining rewards for these blocks, and they prevented the other miners from mining because they are in control of the hash rate and the hash power. The main target for a double spend attack are crypto exchanges. It's going to be cryptocurrency exchanges because when you do a 51% attack, but what an attacker would do is transfer their Bitcoin to an exchange, then they want to quickly sell it for something else and withdraw it. So because it costs so much money to do a 51% attack, the attacker would need to have more than that amount in Bitcoin to make it even worth it. So this is say it costs 10 million to do a 51% attack on Bitcoin for 24 hours. To make your attack even worth it, you're going to have more than 10 million worth of Bitcoin. So now you're going to try and sell 10 million worth of Bitcoin plus on an exchange, and you want to quickly withdraw it in order to do your double spend attack. Now, like I said, you're going to have KYC. There is no way you're going to be able to sell over that 10 million worth of Bitcoin without, or even 1 million worth of Bitcoin, 100,000 worth of Bitcoin, £10,000 worth of Bitcoin. There's no way you're going to sell any of that amount on any cryptocurrency exchange without them knowing your KYC. They're going to know who you are. So your identity is going to be known if you even try to do something like that. And that's just one thing. And then there's other things as well that the exchange can take as precaution to protect themselves from 51% attacks. So it's just impossible to even think about trying to double spend Bitcoin because of how vast the network is at this stage. So what an attacker would do is they will transfer Bitcoin to an exchange, then sell it for something else and withdraw it. So let's just look at this diagram at the bottom. Let's just say here, on this block here, the 51% attack has occurred. Now, on this block here, which is the valid chain, and this is the rogue chain that the 51% attacker is mining secretly and is eventually going to broadcast to the network. So on the valid chain, the attacker sent Bitcoins to an exchange and it's received one confirmation only. This is a confirmation where another block has been built after your block where the transaction has occurred. So the transaction of a Bitcoin being sent to an exchange has occurred in this block here, the second from the last, and then another block has been confirmed after it. So it has one confirmation. Now, what the attacker does is uses that Bitcoin he sells that Bitcoin for another cryptocurrency and then quickly withdraws that cryptocurrency to his wallet. So let's just say he sold that, not even a cryptocurrency, let's just say he sold that Bitcoin for cash, for dollars, and then he quickly withdrawed those dollars out of the system. Now, this has been confirmed on the valid chain that the Bitcoin has received to the exchange. However, on his chain, the rogue chain, where he has most of the mining power and is building it and is growing it in secret, he does not include the transaction that he made to the exchange on his chain. So remember that 51% attacker can choose the transactions that they add into the block. They can change the order of transactions, modify the order, and so on. So in his chain, he excludes the transaction that he made to the cryptocurrency exchange. So that did not take place on his chain. So on his chain, those coins are still in his wallet. Whereas on the main chain, the correct chain, those Bitcoins were sent to an exchange which he sold and has now received the funds for, and it's been confirmed by one blockchain after it as having occurred. It's confirmed. It's got one block confirmation that this has happened. Whereas on his chain, those coins did not leave his wallet. So now he continues to mine on the rogue chain, and his rogue chain has more hash power, so it's the longest. So when he broadcasts his chain to the network, all the nodes in the network accepts the attacker's chain as being the most correct one due to having the most proof of work done to it, due to having the most hash power dedicated to it. So what they do is, from this block onwards, the nodes update it, they remove these 2 blocks and they update it with these 4 blocks on their ledger. And now in the system, on the ledger, it now says, because his chain is what's used by the network as the most valid one, and it's what is used to update the ledger with, it says now that those Bitcoins are in his wallet. So the exchange, what they would see is that Bitcoin transaction, they never received it, it was reversed, and the attacker still has his coins on his wallet. But meanwhile, the attacker sold those Bitcoins and transferred the funds out, and in his chain he still has those Bitcoins on his wallet. So this is what you call a double spend attack. And remember, an attacker can only do this, reverse transactions that belong to them. All other people's transactions cannot be reversed. So what they do is they then broadcast their longer chain to the network, which does not include the Bitcoin transaction they made to the exchange. So they still get to keep their Bitcoin in their accepted chain, in this chain here that's accepted by the network. They still get to keep the Bitcoin, but in the other chain, before they broadcasted their chain, they quickly sold their Bitcoin and withdraw the funds. And this is what you call a 51% attack. I hope I've kind of explained it and that it makes sense now how it works and what attackers actually do while they are doing a 51% attack. And the main targets of these attacks are cryptocurrency exchanges and places where they can quickly off-ramp their Bitcoin, sell it, make some money, and then release their chain where they still have it in their wallet. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so as to not miss my next video. Take care and goodbye.